So, theme of the day, prepare fingers. Leave fingers down.
Certainly leave them closer to where they need to be,
Mm-hmm.
because then you're just moving less. Okay.
Right.
Let's try this. It's basically all about doing less. You do less and you get more music that comes out. If you try too much, then nothing comes out
You
except
get
your.
paid the same.
Well, you get paid the same.
Somebody that makes much more
Yeah.
effort and plays.
But also you'll end up making less music because you're just in knots.
Right.
So you want to play freer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give the opening this a try. Okay, great. A lot of good things. Hearing your Bartok confirms my feeling that you need to do more etudes. Because you have a nice big sound, but a lot of the way you're making sound is through pressure. And when notes are moving, you don't vibrate them. And so that ends up sounding kind of heavy and stuck at the same time. And it needs to sound more alive with the left hand and more free and less pressed. So if we can just go back to the very first da 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 da. Now how are you going to treat that E flat to A flat? Da, da. Are you thinking da 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 da, da, or are you thinking da da? I'm not sure what you were thinking, but you actually dimmed because you went all the way. And so then there's no connection. If you want to actually go to the high note, then 2, 3, 4. You need to save your bow, and maybe a little less vibrato. 2, 3, and then a little wider to connect it. Okay? So a lot of times I feel like you're not thinking with your left hand. You're just doing bowings. And I want you to think more that this is where all of the sound comes from. Actual sound is going to come from your vibrato. Okay? So let's just try from the very beginning again. So you want like this, So a couple of things you're doing. One, remember you're back to your bow hold like this again. So keep there you go. And I wouldn't use your entire bow. If you do this, then I would use less bow, like start in the middle, and be very even about it. And then let it go. You can use more bow then. So. It's a little wild vibrato wise. It's really heavy. Instead, can you think more that the vibrato is from a little child lost, not a Helden tenor going, okay, right? No, but but have it be consistent, not start stop. So and be much lighter with your bow arm so that we don't hear bow changes. And then you go. Beautiful. Good. That's much better sounding. You're working less, and it sounds bigger, and it sounds more beautiful. Now, it gets stuck. So, but don't play loud. Play simple, but don't get stuck. You're there. Float, all the way to the frog. You go like this. You do. It's like literally come to a screeching halt. Good.
Okay, to the.
Otherwise, you're making a huge diminuendo, and you even wrote crescendo there. Okay. So I would start a little bit lighter. 2, 3, 4. Then here, you stop vibrating. Even the eighths, you really were not vibrating anything. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Go, yes. Keep it going. Dun, dun, dun. Vibrate and dun, 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 dun. You're not vibrating anything. Your hand, yeah. Good. So I think it's a little clubby sounding. It's all vibrated, and it's all without accents or kind of a heaviness with your bow changes. It should be like it's more vocal and not bowed. Just play right there. And don't worry about tempo. Just be very floaty. You stop vibrating. You really stop vibrating after the first 2 notes. Try doing this where you're not going to get faster at all. You're just going to play the top note, and then everything. Everything vibrated. Light. Vibrate. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. That's good, but don't get heavy. Don't get heavy, just float. Yes. Okay, now try from the beginning, and when you get to that section, just don't use any arm weight, just float. Float. If you want to make music, make it here. Don't make it. What happens is your shoulder goes up and your arm goes down and it sounds constipated. It's like the Malox edition. It's like, no. Just float, float. This is watercolor music. If Brahms is oil painting, this is watercolor. Just float. That's gorgeous. Nice. Now don't panic, just relax it and one, ton, ton, ton. Vibrate.
Oh, sorry.
Vibrate. So the fingering is the same like 9 times in a row. Don't do a different fingering. It's just 4, 2, 1, 3, 2. It's always the same fingering. Yeah.
Yeah, I could feel the difference when I finally did the vibrato when I landed here.
It's much easier if you vibrate. Much easier. Okay?
Oh, God.
So. why then change? You've been doing it 6 times, 4, 2, 1, 3, 2. Then why do 4? What's the point?
I think it was because of intonation.
Yeah. But you see, it's not crazy fast. So you can take your B natural and then you can play a 2 and play it lower. Watch what I do with my hand. Whether you go 3-3 or not, it's fine. But I wouldn't do a 4 on that. I would do a 3-3, not 4-3. That's not going to be in tune. So 1. So this will be a 1, right? We agree on that? 1, 3, 3. 3, 3. Okay, so from here.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, doing a 4, it throws off the hand, and also it's such a tight fingering that you're not vibrating because it just doesn't feel good. Right?
Your fingers are already clumped in there.
Right. Now, if you're going to begin this dot on a down bow, the first one, then really use very little bow. Because you go like this, then you go, it's going to be really ugly. Why must you go to the front? So there's no, first of all, this is the beginning of a very long journey. And you're beginning it as loud as you possibly can play. Instead, go like this. 2, 3, 4, 1.
Okay.
You do this, then you're going to have 2 options. One, see, this is the problem. If you use your whole bow simply because you don't know how to not use your whole bow on a whole note, then this is what happens. You're going the frog, right? Now, you've got really bad options. 1.
Right.
Bad option. Second option, really bad option. So why not just save your bow? So that's why you hit bigger. So 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm still only halfway there. So from here, up, up, when you cross over your C natural, vibrate. Those are connecting notes. 3, 4, and I would make a dim zone. Beautiful. Slow it down and relax it. Now float. Dum, 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 dum. Vibrato. Dum, 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 dum. Do that. Work that out. This is not hard. This is not hard. Dum, 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 dum. Right from here. So. Down, up, and it's up, bow. Good. So when you put this finger down, these guys leave the fingerboard, and then you have to find the place again. Keep them all down. Keep them down. If you keep one down like that, then you know where you are. Your first finger is like a blind man's walking stick. Then you know where everything is. Okay, keep one down and vibrate it. I never ever, my 1 stays on the E flat the whole time. Now keep it there. It's a little heavy, so be a little more floaty. That's nice. Da, dum, 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 dum. Fingerboard. the 16ths, it doesn't say begin slower than you were coming out of it, right? That's what he writes. He doesn't write. And why do we do it? We've institutionalized that we can't shift well, and so we just basically play it slow. But instead, what does he write? He writes nothing. he writes a cello rondo
until there.
Until here. Rubato doesn't mean slow, it just means free. So when you get to these here on and also because there's syncopations, a little more space. And I wouldn't play it here, I play it frog, because you want to play 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you like this, then you're playing with only 4 inches bow left, and this won't be 5 beats, this will be 1 beat, right? So, so down, up, 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 down. Yeah, I do. So I do this, I do the ink, and then I do the bottom ink. Da dum 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 da dum 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 da dum da 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 da. But it's so much cooler. Going like this. It's actually easier. From here, ready to go. Do the ink. The ink is no slur on those second notes.
Oh,
that's pencil. Now here, this is halfway through, so you're gonna kick it. You're gonna go like this. So I highly suggest the bottom bowing. It's a lot stronger. So, okay, that's just the ink. Right, so the second half of each of those 4s is separate, not slurred. Why are you slurring it?
Oh no, under like for the, like I said.
So it's gonna be this. And then try the bottom. And the fingering I use for here, I actually do this finger. I go up to 3rd and try one. So 2, F sharp 2. Just to there. So. Sorry. Yeah. I think it's a faster, easier, more secure fingering.
3.
Third position. 2 on the E flat, and then 1 on the F. And then there's no shifting. It's just you're there. Okay. Make sense?
The F is with 1.
Yes, yes. So it's 2, 3. And that's the finger. Isn't that easy? It's so much easier. there's a slur.
What?
There's a slur here.
What just happened?
Da, you just didn't do that slur.
Ah, the last two.
Yeah, follow the bottom,
okay.
follow the ink.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, and then your down bow. Try one more time. And enjoy the rhythm of the bowing. So. Okay. That's how they're going. Da 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 da. It's two notes slurred, two separate. Da 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 da. There you go. Da 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 yum da 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 da. Good. So that's good. Now here. Da 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 da. It makes it fun. Da 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 da. Good. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Down, da. That's right. You're overshooting that 2 to 1. E flat to F. It's just da da. Yes. So when you make that shift, your hand is squeezing the fingerboard. Instead, vibrate and play light. So like this. Not, but light with your left hand. That was a very violent shift. You did this. Watch this. A silent shift. So one of the reasons that your shift is not as accurate is because what are we going to go to? We're going to go to our 1, but our 1 is in the air, which means that's the distance. But if it's here, then the distance is a millimeter. That's all you got to do. So it's basically the same thing. Keep fingers on the fingerboard. What goes for Campagnoli goes for Bartok. Even at very first shift, going from 2 to 3, keep fingers down. That's a 1. That was flat and heavy. You went with the bow, like this. So now putting it together, it sounds like this. Now watch my fingers, all 4 fingers, how they work as a unit. Not that, but then. So everything is like chords. That's gorgeous, yeah. Now, add. So you have the syncopations. You need space in between them, or else it sounds like da, a whole note.
Okay.
If the room has any reverb, it'll sound like a whole note.
Oh yeah.
You gotta go da 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 da, not da da da. Okay. Also, the accents need to happen on the 16ths like this. Okay.
Wait, but I didn't notice any accents. It really didn't sound accented. It sounded so pretty.
No.
Oh, okay. More dictated.
Yeah, look, articulated.
Articulated. Okay.
So, yeah, and so what I do is I try to vibrate da da da. I vibrate each one. Yeah, and maybe a little more bow. I'm hearing too much on the second note of the slurs. I want. There you go. But literally breaks because you're playing completely legato. So You did very good on the second one, but you went like da 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 da. It should be da 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 bum bum bum. Off, off. This is what I'm hearing. I want to hear this. You hear I'm playing half length. Da 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 da. Off. Good. Now within that articulation, there's rubato and there's growing. So you're gonna make a phrase. Okay, and then you just use as little bow as you can. So then you're in the right part of the bow for the that right there. And the fingering I use is I stay in third and I just play a 4 with that. So I go, I see what you're doing, you're shifting. It should be this. Why do 2 shifts when you can do 1? Watch this. And then that's it. Only 1 shift.
Okay.
Try it once.
You go down on 3 with 3?
No.
2.
Why do 2 shifts within 3 notes? That's a shift. 3, 2, 1, and then 2, and stay there. Stay. No, I would go. I would stay and play a 4 with that B flat on the C string. No.
Yeah.
So it's only 1 shift. You did 3 shifts. 1 shift only. That's very sharp. So stay in third and do a 4. Do a 4 on the C string. It'll be a huge sound. No. Stay in position. Don't shift again. Too many shifts. Exactly.
Wow.
So it's 1 shift only. 1 shift. And the way you want to hold the note, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. That's how you do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Can you get to here after the measure? Not on your bow. 2, 3, 4, 1, da da da. But play a 4 thing. It just sounds so whippy. Yeah. You wanted this.